Hey YouTube, coming at you with a Beyond the Hype. So this is a series I created where we look at Pokemon or new Pokemon with either old Pokemon with new moves or new Pokemon altogether and how they fare in the GBL. And we cut through the clickbait that the content creators that are going to put this out first a week ago are going to say, Morpeko has been out for a while now, a week. People have used it. People have thoughts on it. But this is going to be sort of like the analytical look at it. Before we get into that and the battles and the team that I put together with it, special shout out to all my new members here. I think we had like 8, so I think we were maybe up to like Ace and DDW here. But also Ben, Nick, Johnny, Jace, Bowser, Sop. Oh man, I'm going to mispronounce a bunch of these names. Nikunj, Green, Andrew, Xavier, Istvan, Alfred, Grimson, Sun, Polo, Joseph, M, Jap, Ida, Christine, and Tyler. All new members on the channel, so we're up to 28 members. For everyone on YouTube who subscribed to me, I have created a Discord. The link is in the description. There's just an open section for everyone to discuss GBL, just general talk. And then there is a section, if you join and you are one of these members that I mentioned, let me know your name and I will add you to the members only group. And then we're discussing potentially like live streams and stuff like that, whether to do it just like with the members because there's only 28 or just do an open stream. So when we make that decision, I will let you know. Okay, Morpeko. The very unique Pokemon in the fact that its charge move changes when you throw it. So it goes into its full belly mode here and hangry mode, I think it's called, the other mode. So stat product wise, not good. Honestly, just it's a glass cannon. It's 141 attack, 97 defense, 114 stamina, 1581 overall, which means that glass cannon negative because you hit hard but struggle to take hits. You need shields, and it's inconsistent, may depend on base and performing inconsistencies. I will explain that what happened in the battles, and I'll tell you the proper way to play this Pokemon. But yes, shield pressure, spammy, and dynamic. And why is that? Well, its charge move, fast move is Thunder Shock, which is solely a fast energy generating move. Terrible damage, but 4.5 energy per turn, which is important to get to this Aura Wheel. So you have Psychic Fangs as a bait move and lowers the opponent's defense. 4 to get to, but it's a terrible move for damage-wise. And then you have this Aura Wheel. So you start as an electric Aura Wheel, 45 for 120, 2.67. And same with the Dark because your typing is electric and dark, so you get same type attack bonus on both. And so great damage per energy, quick to get to, so you're really blasting hard-hitting moves as an attack-heavy Pokemon quickly. Now, how this Pokemon works is when you throw a move, whether it be the Aura Wheel or Psychic Fangs, you change to the modes. So you start with the Electric Aura Wheel. So if you throw the Aura Wheel or you throw Psychic Fangs, you change to the Dark one, which means that your next time, or the Hangry, I guess you're technically always Dark, what happens then is your next time around, your Psychic Fangs and the Dark Aura Wheel, and then it doesn't matter which move you throw, it changes back to the Electric one the next time. So that's how it works. In terms of typings, Electric, Dark. So weak to Bug, Fairy, Fighting, and Ground. I think the typing is mostly positive because Bug, Fairy, and Fighting, there's not a ton of them right now, but there is a lot of Ground, obviously, with all the Ground type buff Pokemon. And double resisting Psychic and then single resisting Steel, Ghost, Flying, Electric, Dark. So I do like a lot of these resistances. Ghost, Dark is always nice to resist. Flying got nerfed, so there's not as many of these and not really many of the other ones. But the problem is because you're so glassy, your weaknesses and resistances don't matter too much. Any move is almost going to one-shot you. Most will one-shot you. So this thing is very glassy. You need multiple shields. So how did I build with it and what did I learn with it? So I started with, I need a bulky Pokemon and I need something to deal with Clodsire because as an Electric Aura Wheel and Thunder Shock is going to be resisted by Clodsire and Clodsire is everywhere. So I started with Dugong. I'm like, okay, perfect. And I started with Dugong and I'm like, okay, you are technically double weak to fighting in the back. So I need a fighter answer. So I started with Trevenant to deal with the fighter and the ground that Morpeko is going to be weak to. And then I just found that it wasn't bulky enough for my liking. Because then I was like, oh, I kind of need to use shields here, but then you need shield from Morpeko. So then I put in the bulky Clodsire. So a bulky Clodsire that was just fighting. And then Dugong and Morpeko, but that does make you double weak to ground. You just kind of have to live with that. So, what did I think about it before we actually get into the battle to show you how it did? I think that you're going to see I baited once or twice, and someone who says never bait with this Pokemon. There is almost no reason to throw Psychic Fangs unless your only win con is like, I cannot get to 2 Aura Wheels, they have a shield, I need to like bait and hope they shield Psychic Fangs and then land an Aura Wheel. Like that's the only time I'd maybe do it. You're gonna see a couple times I tried to just go Psychic Fangs to like bait them, and they let it go, and it's just because it's such a terrible move, and Thundershock does absolutely no damage. You just put yourself in a terrible situation. So I would suggest, if you're playing with this Pokemon, throw Aura Wheel 98% of the time. Unless like the electric Aura Wheel is double resisted by Clodsire and Psychic Fangs is super effective, then go Psychic Fangs. But for the most, like that's probably one of the few exceptions to the rule. Otherwise, you're just kind of throwing Aura Wheel, and this thing 100% needs shields, so try not to use shields with your other Pokemon. And I have it in the back, and I don't know whether it's better on the lead or the back, honestly. Because part of its strength is just like its spamminess. But if something comes in, you're gonna see a couple matchup where Dugong was a safe swap, and if you delay a little too long, then they get to a move, and because you're so glassy, you need to shield up everything, so it kind of puts you in a weird spot. So this is what I'm talking about. I'm coming in here because I'm like, oh, electric versus water, but I'm already 3 Shadow Claws behind, maybe 4, which means I'm not going to outpace, which is when I was like, oh, I'm going to start baiting. And then in comes Chestnut. I'm like, well, okay, this is kind of interesting because this is weak to Psychic and Dugong's weak to Grass, so I really don't want to come in there. So I'm just going to stay in here and throw these Psychic Fangs. I've already got one off to lower, and you can see the changing each time. I may try and catch, or just, no, because if I want to keep this alive, I have to shield, because this will 100% take out. Looks like I'm just sacrificing it and just going to go Dugong, knowing that I can probably shield up this move. And then, this was kind of understanding your win con, knowing that they have a Feraligatr, which only has resisted moves on Dugong, as opposed to like saving my Morpeko to just take a super effective Hydro Cannon. That wouldn't be a great scenario. So just going Joe Run, because I figured if I try and bait, it's sort of your lose con, and then I get to farm down here. So Quagsire is a good lead. I had a lot of good leads with Trevenant, and anyway, I still switched it because it still didn't feel amazing. I kind of where Catch was coming, and then Licky comes in, so you can see me hesitate. I'm like, okay, crap. Shadow Claw's resisted. Dugong would take super effectiveness from the rollout, so I have to come Morpeko. But by the time I make that decision, there's a nerfed Body Slam doing 50%, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm so behind on energy. So I'm just going straight Aura Wheel. Licky is very tanky, so lives that with ease. But because I landed that, and the thing about Aura Wheel is that it boosts your attack, right? So these Thundershocks are now doing more. I can now take it out with Psychic Fangs because the Thundershocks added up, and this is a boosted Psychic Fangs. And I'll go back to the electric form here. And out comes a Jump Bluff. And its Aura Wheel is a great 120 damage attack poke with a high attack and buff. So, right, take it to the yellow, and I can now get my Dugong aligned to it, which does double super effective with the ice moves. So, gotta eat the energy ball. And then out comes the Quagsire, but I am loaded with energy because I was kind of aware they were going to catch. So now it is time to start spamming these Seed Bombs. I really would like to take this out. So that is why I'm shielding the Stone Edge, because I really want to take this out, and I figured they're loaded with energy and it'd be a weird bait. So get the second move off. I'm watching the switch timer. Mine's almost up, which means theirs is a little faster than mine. So Stone Edge does land. I'm aware they're going to try and catch. Yep. Held it back. Get in here. Farm down. Couldn't get the farm down. They get a super effective Seed Bomb off. But then I am able to Shadow Claw down before they Fairy Wind down and get to a Seed Bomb with 1 HP to win. So kind of working all over the place there. But take it out for the win. Okay, Azumarill. Again, a good lead. And out comes Dugong. And this is where I hesitated. So I hesitated too long. And then I made the decision here. I'm like, if they let this go, it's Dugong. If they don't let it go and shielded, then I can come and one-shot Morpeko. So I just kind of made that decision right there. And they let it go, which means it's just drill run range, and I don't need to show them Morpeko now. The problem is, what I'm very worried about, and I think was what happens here, is they have an Azumarill and a Dugong on this team, which is 2 Pokemon weak to electric, which means they probably have an electric answer in the back. They probably have Clodsire. So I'm in trouble here, because if they have Clodsire, my Trevenant's too low and they got shield advantage, and then Morpeko, I can only just go Psychic Fangs, which is super effective. I mean, Trevenant's not that low, but it's low enough, and this will take me out, and they'll still have energy. And oh, I got shields? No, they got shields too. And unfortunately, it's a Sand Slash. Oh, did I steal this team? Did I subconsciously steal this team? Because I'm using this team next. This is the exact team I'm using next. Oh, spoiler alert. You're going to see this tomorrow morning. Because I got a viewer submitted this afternoon that I've already filmed. But this team is what I'm using tomorrow morning. I like this team comp. And this team comp beat me, so maybe that's why subconsciously So, first of all, I baited there. Sorry, as I was just getting just caught up here. I baited here because I'm down a shield and behind on energy. So I'm like, I need to bait, or else this thing's just going to outpace me and take me out with ease. So I tried to bait here. They already got 2 moves off because I held back for some reason. I should have forced a shield here. That's my fault. I should have forced a shield and then baiting here, thinking like, but now that they've got both my shields, they don't need to shield this. They can just sweep with the other Pokemon. But at this point, I baited, so they didn't shield. So now I'm baiting again, thinking that they would. And then I go one more time here, because I'm like, okay, they're 2 times lower, so maybe they're going to be scared, even though this is very resisted. But I'm a very attack heavy. They're Sand Slash, they're not super bulky. So I get it. But then this thing's loaded with energy, so it will take me out here and probably have enough to deal with the Trevenant too. And I think Azumarill may have like an Ice Beam as well. Oh, I tried to farm down because I'm like, my only win con is farming down because I think the Azumarill's loaded. Anyways, didn't like how I played that matchup. And I think I got another loss coming up here as well. Yeah, this is when I switched to team. Guzzlord. I'm like, okay, I got an answer for it, but maybe don't come with your hardest answer because... But the other options were stay with Trevenant or come Morpeko, which everything's resisted as well. So kind of core breaker, which is when I switch the team. So we'll let this play out because it's poor. It's just poor team comp with some flaws here. People have said, I forget, there's a bug with this Pokemon that you're losing like turns here. I think it's on your change form that you lose a little bit of a turn. Maybe like there, instead of being like a 2-turn move and a 2-turn move, it looks like it was a 1-turn leg and a 2-turn move caught in the thing. I don't know. It just seems like this Pokemon is not, with the change form, is not working properly, and that is why it's banned in the Play Pokemon Championship. So I came in here. Even though they do throw the Aura Wheel, that was an accidental shield. I did not mean to shield that. I meant to let it go, but I think I was just like not paying attention. I was just like clicking, so I shielded. So that one was not intentional. And I went Psychic Fangs, and I still didn't take it out, so they get Psychic Fangs off. Anyways, changing to Clodsire with better results. Add a little more bulk. Take out your huge weakness there. And then, yeah, Guzzler, what am I going to do here, right? So let's just play out. So what is this Pokemon? Great, good, okay. After I stopped baiting, you're going to see a couple sweeps with it. I think I have at least one sweep coming up with it, and a couple, like, when you get in good matchups, how dominant it can be. So it definitely has the potential to be great in certain situations. Because Psychic Fangs to me is useless, and the change form is tricky, it's not a must use in my opinion. It's fun. It's fun and it's interesting. It's creative. It's interesting to like have something that does something unique in the GBL. But I don't know if it's a must use. So I'll go over a bit more as a conclusion at the end of this video. Let's talk about the battles. We've seen this matchup play out a ton of times in the Halloween Cup. So I did shield up an Ice Beam. They did not decide to shield. So I will come out with some energy, but down a shield, but I'll keep switch. So get the Sludge Bomb off. I'm going to get another one off here because I can throw 2 in the move before their 5-turn Incinerate finishes. So here comes the second move. They are absolutely loaded though. That's 100 energy there. So they're at 100 energy. They're going to throw a Thunder Punch because that's all they need to take me out. Except they don't take me out, but they do get the farm down. Oh yeah, I don't let them farm down, and yeah. And then I'm like, okay, maybe at this point I just sacrifice this and try and like get their energy. And then I'm like, okay, that didn't work. And then I'm like, okay, I know I'm one Poison Sting away from a move here, so I'm going to come in here. And then they catch on Talonflame. But that just kind of gives me my, okay, I know what the last Pokemon is. I know I can just two Aura Wheels here and take this out. So, and perfect forms here too. So I get the Electric Aura Wheel on the Talonflame and then switch to the Dark. I mean, I don't need Dark, but I don't switch. I should have switched, but I don't switch because that's an Electric one. That should have been a Dark one. But again, the game is a little buggy with that. Okay, so bad lead. I make 2 good catches. I remember playing for Alligator twice. I don't know if I put both those matches in. I remember catching twice on the Feraligatr with the Clodsire lead. So there's one of them. Catch the Hydro Cannon. They stay in because this is actually kind of a neutral matchup because Hydro Cannons do chip and the Shadow Claw is neutral, whereas opposed to the Ice Shard is resisted and Crunch hurts too. That is not a Hydro Cannon. That is a neutral Crunch. So that actually does add up, and then these claws are going to add up, so I'm going to go down here. And then they give up switch. Interesting. And this is where I needed to make a decision. And the decision was, what's the second move? I know you probably have Grass Knot. Is it a Moonblast or is it a Future Sight? So I took the chances that it would be a Moonblast here. But with so many Clodsires, I guess that's kind of a dumb decision. Anyways, they're staying in and are going to throw a Future Sight, which is super effective, as opposed to a Moonblast, which would be resisted that they'd have to go Grass Knot. So super effective Future Sight comes through. Clodsire being extremely tanky, able to live that. This is probably just a Grass Knot, which I'll live. I'll get a move off, and then I think I just need to pretty much blind swap because I'm within a couple HP. Yeah, I can see me blind swapping there. Oh yeah, it's a Clodsire, and this move, even though super effective, is useless. And this is the problem with this. One of the problems with this Pokemon. I think there's a couple. And I guess we'll talk about it here as I probably lose this matchup. One of the problems with this Pokemon is if your Aura Wheel is resisted, whether it be the Electric or the Dark, and you can only throw Psychic Fangs, you're in trouble. Huge trouble. So it's not like Feraligatr, which can just do like pretty hard hitting Shadow Claws, and even if Hydra's resisted, you're still chipping. Like you'll probably still chip with Aura Wheel. Well, no, not double resisted. Not a double resisted Electric on Clodsire. You won't. So you're kind of just like you're in trouble. You're in trouble if your Aura Wheel's resisted, and you like because that Psychic Fangs is not going to do anything for you. And then the second problem is It's a little difficult. It's kind of tricky to deal with like the change form, because sometimes you want one of them over the other, but then you're kind of like in a weird, like if I throw this, I'm going to change forms and I don't want to change forms. I want to keep this, but then you don't want to like, so there is some like trickiness with how you play this Pokemon. So I lost lead to Drifblim. I lost the switch Dugong against Carbink. Just getting in here. Blind swap. I know they have it. So blind swap, and their blind swap, they went in Oranguru for some reason. Lucky me, that Oranguru is a confusion user, which the dark resists. And they shielded the first move. So Hangry mode is a dark, which will hit super effective. At this point, I don't think I need a super effective because I just boosted my attack and I figured Trailblaze was coming. And at this point, just come out with a little bit of energy in case the Drifblim comes in, but I'm going to outpace this thing, and the confusions are double resisted, which means that I'm going to easily sweep this matchup. So there's the second shield. I could have thrown there. I would have won CMP, but nah. We're going to just make sure that we have a move coming out for Drifblim as well. They just bait Brutal Swing. So, oh, here comes the Drifblim. Have a, what is now a double boosted Aura Wheel. So that's going to one-shot. And then they're going to change form to the Dark, and we're going to do a triple boosted Aura Wheel against the Psychic. So this will one-shot like 100% Oranguru. So this is how this Pokemon can get out of control quickly. Because Aura Wheel, think about that. Thundershock is a 2-turn fast move. It only takes 5 to get to an Aura Wheel, which already does 120 damage. So in 10 moves, you are throwing, it's not a nuke because some, like the bulkier Pokemon will, like we saw Licky Licky live. But you're throwing like basically a nuke in 10 turns worth of moves, and also boosting that nuke for the next time around, right? So it can really get crazy. So coming in here, knowing that I have to shield a move, but again, just getting ahead on energy, I feel like that puts you in a pretty good situation, unless it's a ground type. And if it's a ground type, you just kind of need to get out into your other Pokemon. Because again, if your Aura Wheel's resisted, you're in trouble. Now, what I think you're going to see on the back end here is, yes, this is where the change form can be helpful. Because what I'm thinking is going to happen is I'm going to be left with Morpeko against Diggersby. But what you could do is go Psychic Fangs to lower their defense the first time, change that Aura Wheel to Dark, and then throw the Dark Aura Wheel into a lowered defense Diggersby. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happens here. So we're going to lower their defense. I don't even know if, I think I still probably lose this matchup, but this is where it could get kind of interesting. Whereas a normal Pokemon would just be absolutely walled. Like if I use Togedemaru, I just have top left because I'm walled. But now I lower their defense and throw a boosted thing. Now, problem is, you switch back here. I have no shields, so I'm going to get one shot. But even if I did have shields, I get outpaced because I then need to go Psychic Fangs this time and then go the Aura Wheel Dark the next time. So the change makes it, again, tricky. I keep saying tricky. It puts you with, it's tough to think of matchups through because it's very easy to be like, if I had like my Togedemaru against this, it'd be like, okay, perfect. I can just go Wild Charge and take this out. Whereas like you throw Aura Wheel the first time, you're now, Thundershocks are going to add up. So Aura Wheel Dark would probably still KO. So this is probably a bad example, but you're not throwing a super effective move anymore the second time around. You're throwing a neutral move. But yeah, it was fun. It was interesting to try. I did lose lead here against the Feraligatr, make the catch on Dugong again, get the Talonflame out here, so that's okay. At this point, we are again going to need to just come Clodsire, sacrifice it, and then try and sweep Morpeko. Did I say Morpeko a bunch? Or did I just say this Pokemon? Morpeko, whatever its name is. And they give up switch to Drifblim, which is interesting. And I'm going to throw before they lower my attack / force them into a position here. I think they let go. Yeah, they let go, which is Okay, great for me because that just goodbye. And they still have Feraligatr. At this point, I'm going to shield this. At this point, Thunder Shocks are adding up on this thing, and if I lower the defense, I feel like I'm in an okay situation. Even if they let this go, I think I'm okay. I'm kind of hoping they shield, and they do shield because that just makes it easier. Back to full belly mode at this move again because the Thunder Shocks are boosted. So those are adding up, and now Psychic Fang is going to add up because they're lowered their defense, so that takes them out. What are they left with? The Talonflame, which is very low. I throw a move even though I don't need to. I don't know why I threw that move. I could just Thunder Shock down for the win. So final thoughts on Pokemon. I think I basically covered everything. I think it's fun to use. I think it's tricky to use. If you're using this Pokemon, don't bait. Just throw Aura Wheel unless it's like double resisted. Like don't throw an electric Aura Wheel into a Clodsire. Throw the Psychic Fangs, which is super effective. That's the obvious one. But like even if it's like a neutral Psychic Fangs or a single resisted Aura Wheel, you throw the single resisted Aura Wheel all the time. Plus it boosts your attack, right? So the next time around, not only does it change forms, that could potentially help you in the next matchup, it boosts that attack. And it only takes 5 Thunder Shocks to get to, which is 5 times 2 is 10. Very quick to get to. Definitely throw the Aura Wheels a bunch. And then very, very glossy. Like I don't feel comfortable taking any charge move with this Pokemon. So you essentially need to, you're going to look at it, it's ranked like what, 120, what I say, 120-ish plus in the 190. It's ranked 190 in the Great League, but that is a one-on-one even energy, even shield. That's never how you should use a Pokemon. You always use it with shield advantage. So if I go to the 2 versus 1, it's a 33-7 record, and a 1 versus 0 shield is a 35-5 record. And that is how you should be using this Pokemon. You really need to grab shields with your other Pokemon and do not use shields with this Pokemon, and then just Aura Wheel the crap out of your opponents, boosting your attack every time. Yes, change mode could be a little tricky. You may get kind of locked if you don't want it accidentally. But it's the best way to play this Pokemon. So yeah, fine. I think it is bugged out a little bit though with its change form and like a 1-turn lag here and there. So not maybe the best Pokemon to use right now because of that, but definitely an interesting one to use. Anyways, hope that was helpful. Thank you for watching. I appreciate those of you who made it this far in the video. Appreciate if you're new, hit that subscribe button. I should probably say that much earlier, but appreciate any engagement with the with it. Oh, and again, if you already made it this far, you kind of know the situation. If you follow me on Twitter and saw that YouTube finally got back to me, so ads are back. They've been back for like a couple days, but YouTube, I didn't even think they would do this, but they've actually acknowledged the problem. So they sent me a thing and said, update, our product team confirms that this was related to an issue with ad serving. This has now been addressed and you should see ads on your videos as usual. Thank you so much for your patience as we sorted it out. So it's not an invalid traffic bug. It's not an issue with the rollout of the long form shorts. It just seems like an ad, what do they say? An ad serving issue that is now fixed. So it just seems like a random crappy situation for a week that happened to me that seems to be fixed now. But I think a lot of good came out of it. I think I learned more about mid-rolls. I learned more about YouTube analytics. I learned more about memberships. So I think in the long run, it probably helps the channel overall. Anyways, that was Morpeko. Thanks for watching. Viewer submitted battle this afternoon that I filmed earlier to give me, again, these days are always tough because I haven't done my second. So I'm filming this one at 9:17 p.m. to go up for 7:30 a.m. But I have not done that Azu Sandslash Dugong team yet. I've done one game and I need to do another 10 now. So that'll take about half an hour. 9:50, 10 o'clock. Upload, edit is like 10:30, 11. So that's why maybe I'll shoot that tomorrow morning. But get it ready tonight so I can just quickly shoot tomorrow morning. But that's why I have the other one banked. Anyways, that's enough talking. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.